Ladies all around the world, listen up. We're looking for you. The time has come to be unstoppable together. The danger of executive women is worrying we're not enough, obsessed with perfection, failing to perform. You're in the right place. It's now time to be unstoppable together with Connie Fife. She was the director of the United States Chamber of Commerce and CEO of the Girl Scouts. Sit down, squat down, or lie down. It's time for Up or Out, all business with Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva and chair of the Fife Group, helping women in leadership achieve excellence and be unstoppable together.
Hi, this is Connie Fife, and you're listening to Up or Out. I am the Unstoppable Diva, and we always have unstoppable guests. Our guest for today is Somala, making sure I say that correctly, Somala. And Samir is a chief financial officer, and he's at Blue Ocean Global Technology and Blue Ocean Global Wealth. Prior to co-founding Blue Ocean Global Wealth, he was also the senior investment analyst at the Bank of Nova Scotia and a financial advisor and intermediary at Morgan Stanley and Merrill, Lynch and Company. Now, his responsibilities at Ernst & Young and Advisor Compliance Associates also include helping asset management and alternative investment companies adapt to the Sarbanes-Oxley. Oh, I know all about Sarbanes-Oxley. Samir is a CFA Charterholder, a CFP certified financial professional, and a Chartered Alternative Investment Analyst. He's a member of the Speaker Series at Johns Hopkins University, Carey School of Business. Samir is also a subject matter expert and a frequent speaker on the digital revolution, reputation management, succession planning, technology, diversity, financial planning, entrepreneurship, and leadership, all of what we're going to be talking about today. In May of 2017, he was named an iconic leader creating a better world for all of us by the All Ladies League and Women's Economic Forum, a title that we both hold, by the way. So Samir, we have a lot to talk about today, so welcome to the show.
Thank you, Connie. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's always wonderful to spend quality time with people that are so wealthy of the heart like yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love that. It's beautiful. So I just want to jump right into talking about networking and how do we effectively network in the revolution age? I mean, you're in financial management. I know you do a lot of speaking. I actually met you at an event where we were both speaking. So how do you take that and network and also use that technology that's out there?
Sure. I know. Isn't it ironic that devices take us close to people far away, but they take us away from people sitting right next to us.
Right.
And so I think how you build relationships, because we spend so much time on our phones and so much time on social media, is unique. And so that in-person connection, like we met, we exchanged energy, it was very positive. Right. And so those just few moments you get with people in person, they allow you to connect with someone. And then building the relationship and sharing information on social media like you do that helps people make more informed decisions, having authentic and meaningful and engaging content is the next step. And it's important that we build relationships and recognize that we are all spending more time on social media, and that's an opportunity. But it also poses a new set of challenges. So.
Well, I see a lot of the challenges and I'm guilty of it, and not knowing what to post out there. So you post a quote. Yeah. And there are so many quoters out there.
Quoters. It's a new Connieism.
Yeah, right. The Connieism. That it just gets lost in everything. So I purposely pulled back. And because I also have somebody, of course, that helps me and works with me and does a lot of my social media. And somebody, I was with lunch with someone one day, and he's like, "Wow, you're on Twitter a lot today." And I was like, "I am." And he's like, "Yeah." And I opened it up, and it said that I had tweeted 34 times that day. I went, "No." So I went back to her because I know that I'll jump on there. I'll look for relevant content, something that someone is saying that's purposeful, that's going to grab my attention. And so again, she put out 34 quotes for me in one day. I'm like, no, like people aren't even going to pay attention. So the new rules that I have that no quotes unless I occasionally put one up there. And I said, no more than 3 posts a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let's see where that goes. And I have to tell you, it's really made a difference because the posts that we are putting up are very content driven. And it's giving that information to the people. So now we're getting more and more people to listen and pay attention.
Yeah, well, I think my comment to that would be people forget what you said, they forget what you did, but they never forget how you made them feel. And you have an incredible gift about this. And I've learned that it's important that how you develop relationships, one sentence, one conversation, one day at a time, and humility and gratitude are the essence of life. Even just our connecting is because we both spend a lot of time giving to causes that are meaningful. And people really do know when you care genuinely, and the gratitude is real. And I try to bring positive energy and perspective to every relationship. And it's not going to be from one interaction alone. So I think sometimes when we think of networking, we think, I got to meet these people. I got to build a relationship quick, but it needs to happen organically, and it needs to take a little bit of time.
Yeah. I mean, and if you think about the way we did sales previously, I'm a little bit older than you are. And it was either picking up the phone, and it was still doing mail. It was still going out to a local chamber event, or, joining some kind of networking thing. And it still works that way, but it's just doing it in a different platform. So which platform do you primarily focus? I mean, because we could, and that's the other thing that could drive us crazy, because there's so many different platforms that are out there. So the obvious top 4 for me is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. My business is primarily LinkedIn. So which one works for you?
Yeah, I think first off, I think it's always about great content. Great content is going to drive engagement across all platforms. Owning a technology company, we're oftentimes have clients say, hey, I want to get on Instagram. And we usually ask them, well, how come you're not on LinkedIn yet? And you want to jump to Instagram and Snapchat. I think, Facebook, Google Plus, and then Insta in that order. But LinkedIn and Twitter are certainly important ones. And I think, trends in mobile and social media usage are heading in one direction. They're increasing. And it's transforming how we cultivate trust and really breaking down a lot of walls and putting up bridges demographically, geographically. And social media is not all about selling. It's about developing connections, communicating effectively. And I think that's where we spend a lot of time building a profile. And, I realized the power, Connie, of LinkedIn about 3 years ago, where I was at an event for senior finance professionals held by CFA Institute, and people from 4 continents said, wow, Samir, I saw you've been speaking here, you did this X engagement, and I realized that there is a multiplicative opportunity. But like we talked about, you only get one first impression, and then you start posting the wrong information or information that is not necessarily relevant, what your lunch is, and you're posting that on LinkedIn. Well, then
that drives me crazy.
Then people, I think they get a little bit bored quickly. So maintaining a positive brand reputation is really essential to any business and person. And these social media platforms revolutionize how we communicate and how we access information.
Yeah, and I think no matter what platform you choose to use, it goes back to still that relevant information. I'm putting it out there and knowing this is not where you sell.
Correct.
That's just not where you sell. Well, so what about, let's just take that right into reputation management. And I know that you're a subject matter expert and, you testify in different court cases. So, your reputation going, very similar to you only have 3 seconds to impress. Reputation management, really the same thing. How do you keep that reputation of who you are consistent throughout your brand?
Well, that's increasingly complex, and it's a confluence of factors that come together and make that even more so challenging today than ever before. And I oftentimes say, we've been referred a client or a law firm we're working with said, Samir, all of our business comes from referrals. We have a very good network. And I posed the question. I said, well, first and foremost, if you're getting referrals, do you think these referrals are Googling you and going to your firm and looking at the digital presence before they pick up the phone and call? And the answer is yes. So how do you make sure, Connie, if you have this stellar reputation and brand amongst your ecosystem, how do you make sure that it's well represented online?
Right.
And how you go about that is, the opportunity similar, when you need 211 versus 212 degrees and you need boiling. And I think reputation, Connie, by its very definition, is a nebulous, it's an intangible, it's a complex concept.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Trust, along with, I think, an excellent reputation, as a resource, can't be directly measured, by quantitative metrics.
What happens with an organization? Say they have a rogue employee, like me when I was still with Girl Scouts. I had to pull some of my ladies in and say, okay, ladies, it's like you can't be dancing on the tables over the weekend.
Right.
It might be your time off, but you still work for Girl Scouts. You still represent Girl Scouts. So, and again, it's a reputation that we have to uphold as well. Everything down for, something, some people might say, well, that's silly, to how somebody dresses in an organization. So if you're an organization where it's t-shirts and jeans, well, okay, that's fine. But if you're in one that, again, in Girl Scouts, you can't wear t-shirts that have curse words and stuff on it. We had those conversations, trust me. So how does an organization manage or control that reputation management when there's so many other people in the organization?
Well, you're hitting on really at the heart of the challenge, is because reputation is so expansive and ubiquitous. It covers everything.
Right.
It covers marketing. It covers sales. It covers operations. That makes it harder. And that's why organizations struggle oftentimes to assign one person who's responsible for reputation.
Right.
And now you think about your reputation covers your employees, your key executives.
Right.
There's a situation recently where a key executive had a personal issue with a family member, and the business is being affected by it, because when people are Googling that business, that is coming up. And so making sure, that you Google your website, you Google your CEO, you find out, hey, what are we online? Is it truly representative of our business? And making sure that representation is clear and consistent. Is there even a presence online? Sometimes there isn't one.
Yeah.
You mentioned that rogue employee. That's being, increasingly, there's a partner in a law firm we recently worked with. He was sued for sexual harassment, found, which is certainly more common today than ever.
Right.
And, he ended up being terminated. But now in different disciplines, he was, I think, a white-collar corporate attorney, but now in their real estate division, their family law.
Right.
People are Googling the firm and they're finding that article.
It's
Exactly.
It's that domino effect. It just, it just continues on and on and on. Again, back when I was at Girl Scouts, I remember visiting some family in Kentucky, and it was, there was celebrations and different things going on. And my two twin nieces had somebody taken a picture of us around this table. Well, they posted it to Facebook. Well, I was the one sitting with about 30 beer bottles sitting in front of me. And I was like, get that off of there.
That's not the image that Connie has created out there in the marketplace.
No. And my daughter is a child psychologist. And actually that was what it just called. Sorry about that. And she will not be on social media at all. She said, I run a school. She goes, I like to have my occasional beer on the weekend. Like, I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing. So she will not go on there. But then that goes back to also that trust factor that we have with our employees. And then when you see something like that happening, and then again, you're trying to work with, the external customer, and they're saying, well, wait a minute, how do I really trust you? And I see all of this other stuff happening within your organization. So how could I trust you to work with me?
Well, as we talk about reputation, I think As Warren Buffett is one of the best lines is it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. And if you think about that, you'll do things differently. So one, I think, is having a social media policy. I think there's something so intangible about culture and making sure everybody knows that as part of their job responsibilities, as part of being a part of this family,
right,
this particular company or organization like Girl Scouts, the reputation of the organization falls on all of us.
Yeah.
And you have your own personal life, but if you're connected to work people on Facebook and you're, as you said earlier, dancing on tables on the weekend, that's going to adversely affect your professional life and our organization and company. And, I think today all organizations from large conglomerates to small businesses are adapting to how they market and implement effective digital strategies. And a lot of it comes down to reputation. Today, one negative image, one news article can destroy brand equity quickly. And so being prepared for this is important, and making sure that you're monitoring and you're staying on top of any of the risk that's there from a reputation standpoint.
Well, you said one thing that just jumped out at me about an organization having a social media guidelines or policies. I'll be honest with you, I have not heard of companies doing that. Now, I know for our Women Who Dare Network, I have a marketing kit where I have provided our members. This is, if you talk about us, this is what we want you to use. Like, here's some examples. Certain things to say. I mean, you can't just say, like, you want them to give their story. But that's really interesting that companies, organizations would have or need to have those type of policies in place.
Well, they definitely do. There's a new set of reputational risks.
There's a new set of rules on that.
There is. I can even think of in one of the CLE programs, I was just speaking at Legal Week in New York City last week, and I was sharing perspective on, there was a court case where a man who was a principal of a school had sued the school, I think it's Gulliver's School in Florida, and on age discrimination.
Okay.
And he won the suit and was granted, I think, something around the neighborhood of $80,000, $90,000 as part of the settlement, along with some other terms. And as part of the settlement, it was that, hey, him and his wife, they can't talk about it.
Right.
Anyone of this information can't go public. Well, the daughter found out about this. Goes to Facebook and basically just says, mom and dad just won their case against Gulliver, trip to Europe, suck it, in, capital letters.
Right.
And of course, she sends that out to all their friends on Facebook. Many of them go to Gulliver's, they find out, and they say, well, we're not paying for the settlement anymore.
They broke.
And they go back and forth and through the appeals, and the school ended up winning, where they did not have to pay that settlement because the terms and conditions were broken.
Wow, that's really interesting. Really interesting. Oh, I'll have to continue that story, but I know, Samira, we don't have all that much time left, but I have a couple questions for you. So I want you to finish this sentence. So I am a leader because
I invest in myself and other people, and I believe in going to bed a little bit smarter every day, and I call that the miracle of compound interest applied to knowledge. So I try to be a leader of myself first and foremost.
Nice, love that. My favorite success quote is?
I think it's success is not final, and failure is not final. And I always remind myself every morning, Connie, success is leased and rent is due every day. And how am I paying rent today to continue to earn trust and be afforded opportunities? And, I try to pay my rent every day, you could say.
Beautiful, beautiful. My process for evaluating opportunities is?
I believe in the mastermind. I believe in surrounding yourself with people that truly embodies diversity. For instance, my business partner, Margarita Chang, I always joke, is like the better 95% of our intellectual capital. And so you may call it slow at times, but I think being patient to make decisions where people who have a vested interest weigh in is ultimately how we can, make better decisions. And I think leadership, it is the ability to engage and collaborate effectively with a group of individuals. And I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself with people that have strengths and that mitigate my own weaknesses. And that's how, when kind of human beings want to put men on the moon, they want to craft changes in the tax code, they want to innovate new products. They want to cure diseases at MIT. They assemble diverse groups of people, and that's how you can avoid climbing the wrong ladder to get to the top of the wrong building.
So what is your let me start that all over. So what is your truth, that North Star that guides your way of life?
I think the golden rule: try to treat other people the way you'd want to be treated. You can learn so much about someone by observing. And I think men in general struggle to use their ears and mouth proportionately. So I think learning to listening to learn is important. And so, I think saying less and, trying to give without remembering and receive without forgetting. People know when you've been someone of value, when you've tried to help them, when you've invested in a friendship. And I think the more you can do that genuinely and not make it about keeping score and, networking, as we talked to begin the conversation, it's about giving. It's not about getting. Right.
I always use the term, you need to give or service before sales.
Ooh, I like it.
Service before sales. So what's next for Samir? Where you go from here?
Well, I think I have a busy couple months on a speaking tour, which is pretty exciting. The challenges in reputation that we covered are expansive. Yeah. So I think making sure that we partnered with the Philadelphia Bar Foundation to launch some of our reputation education programs.
Okay.
And so people want to hear what we have to say, and that's a responsibility, and that's an opportunity to make one first impression. And so,
powerful. That's a powerful topic, a powerful message that a lot of people need to listen to.
Well, it's one certainly we share in the same foundation of, and I just try to be a person of value. And I think, that means investing in yourself, investing in others, and being a good friend, being a better brother, a better son, a better family member, a better colleague. And people don't expect to meet someone who's an outlier on the right side of the bell curve. And I think that when you give everything you have to building relationships, things have a way of coming back to you.
That's beautiful. I really do love that. And you can tell when someone is speaking from the heart, and you truly do.
Oh, thank you, Connie. It takes one to know one.
Oh, thank you. So that's really what we have for today. So if you want to let our listeners know again who you are, if you want to share a little bit more about you, a final comment, and again, how can they reach you? How can they get in touch with you?
Sure. The best way to get in touch with me is, of course, on social media. If you Google my first and last name, Samir Somal, my email address is also my first initial, my last name, Somal. So SSOMAL at Blue Ocean Global Tech, TECH.com. And I think what I want people to remember from this is, when someone asks me that question that I always say, you shouldn't ask people at events, like, what do you do? Because it's like the next thing. I always say, while I'm the co-founder and CFO of Blue Ocean Global Technology and Blue Ocean Global Wealth, first and foremost, I'm an educator. And I'm passionate about sharing information that can help other people make the most informed decisions. And that allows me to be someone of value. And I think that's part of enjoying the journey.
I love that. That's really, really beautiful. But I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm just honored to be in your presence as often as that we've had those opportunities. And I'm sure we'll continue to do that.
It was a lot of fun, Connie. You stand for all the right things. It's a pleasure to collaborate.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Ladies all around the world, listen up. We're looking for you. The time has come to be unstoppable together. The danger of executive women is worrying we're not enough, obsessed with perfection, failing to perform. You're in the right place. It's now time to be unstoppable together with Connie Fife. She was the director of the United States Chamber of Commerce and CEO of the Girl Scouts. Sit down, squat down, or lie down. It's time for Up or Out, all business with Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva and chair of the Fife Group, helping women in leadership achieve excellence and be unstoppable together.